This piece is now ready to be finished. It was painted in Miss Mustard Seed's milk paint in typewriter, and I have a video showing how I prepped the piece as well as how I painted it. And then it was distressed with 120 grit sandpaper just around the edges, just to give it a sense of age, to kind of knock the newness off of the piece, and to just bring out this beautiful detail as well as the warmth of the wood underneath the black. And now, of course, it looks like really rough. The color is inconsistent. The black doesn't look like a nice rich black. So we're going to fix that by finishing it with hemp oil. And this is our all-natural hemp oil finish. It's just made of 100% hemp oil. I'm going to apply it with a natural bristle brush. And I like using these because it really soaks up into the bristles, and you can apply, make sure you get it like fully saturated into the paint. You can also use hemp oil, well, I mean, it has like a million uses, but you can use it to revive metal as well. You can use it on wood pieces that are dried out. You could use it on old leather, all kinds of things. Even new leather. I use it on my leather boots and backpacks and stuff. So I'm just gonna brush it on, and it's always like a wow moment when you brush hemp oil on, because it makes the color look so rich and beautiful. And this is definitely, hemp oil and antiquing wax are my favorite finishes for typewriter because they really bring out the richness of the color. You don't want to use Tough Coat or another kind of a water-based poly on top of typewriter because it'll just look a little cloudy. It just won't bring out the richness of the color the way the hemp oil will. With the hemp oil, it looks lustrous and beautiful. The problem with blacks is they can sometimes look kind of flat. And with this hemp oil, they don't look flat at all. They look really rich and beautiful. And you can also see how it really is bringing out the color of that wood. So then what I'm gonna do is just buff it with a microfiber cloth, just to take off the oil, any excess oil. You don't want to just leave the oil sitting there. And the nice thing about the microfiber cloth is it won't leave a bunch of lint, which is an issue with black because, you know, if you use a fabric that's going to leave lint, you're going to see it because it's black. Okay, but I'm going to show you a trick to get this nice and smooth, because it has a little bit of texture to it from the paint and from sanding and all of that. So I had to grab my sandpaper. This is 320 grit, so it's a really fine sandpaper. And I actually should have done this before I wiped it down. You don't have to do this. This is an extra step if you just want it really smooth. This is one of my favorite techniques with hemp oil. So I'm brushing the hemp oil on, and then I'm going to do wet sanding with it. So while the hemp oil is on and wet, I'm going to very, very lightly rub it with this 320 grit sandpaper. You can use 220 grit too, that would be fine. And then I'm going to buff it with a microfiber cloth. And it is just, I can feel the difference now. There's no resistance at all when I'm buffing it. And it is just, it feels, I wish you could just feel it. It's so smooth. And I'm a very tactile person. I love my furniture to just feel nice, and this feels amazing. Feels so good. Doesn't that look amazing compared to this? I mean, it's the color and the richness that hemp oil brings out is just beautiful, especially on the dark colors. Like Artissimo, it's beautiful on Tricycle, Curio, any of those colors that just look really flat and chalky when they're not finished. Look so rich with the hemp oil. So I'm going to do this to the entire piece. When you're applying hemp oil, you do not have to worry about applying it with the grain of the wood. You can just brush it on because you're going to wipe it off anyway. So hemp oil is wonderful if you are someone who's a little messy or you're really worried about brush strokes with applying a polyurethane. The nice thing about applying it with a brush is you can really smush it into those details of a piece and get it fully covered with hemp oil. And also I'm working in sections so that the hemp oil doesn't start to dry and get sticky. Piece has the hemp oil on. I've wet sanded all of the large flat surfaces. I'm not worrying about any of the little details because those don't really need to be smooth. I mean, they're not smooth anyway. So just did the drawer fronts, the sides, and definitely the top. You want the top to be nice and smooth. Now, if you can tell, the hemp oil is sort of, it looks a little splotchy at this point, and that's because it's being absorbed at different speeds into the paint, and anything that's excess is just going to sit on top. The surface is like, I don't need that, let's get that out of here. So what I'm doing now, I have a fresh microfiber cloth. Also, the cloth I was using started to get a little saturated with oil. So I have a fresh one, and now I'm going to wipe over it again just to pick up all of the excess oil and kind of give it one final buffing. I've wiped it all down now with the microfiber cloth, and that's made a big difference. And what I'll do is for the next week or so, I will wipe it down every maybe like 2 or 3 days, just to get up some of the excess oil that might leach out over time. And after 30 days, the hemp oil will be fully cured, and you won't need to do it past, like rubbing it past a week. The nice thing about the hemp oil finish is that if at any point this finish does start to look kind of dried out or tired, you can always put you can always put a fresh coat of hemp oil on, and it'll look nice and rich and beautiful again. But unless you live in a really dry climate, you should only have to do that maybe every 5 to 10 years at the most. So it's a pretty low maintenance finish. Definitely, but I love the hand rubbed look of it. It's just so beautiful and very fitting for a piece like this, and very fitting for black paint as well, for this typewriter color that I used on the piece. So for more tutorials and information about Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint, you can check out the other videos on my YouTube channel, but you can also check out my blog at missmustardseed.com.